We tell ourselves we will start tomorrow. We reorganize our desk, check our phone one more time, and somehow the day slips away, and with it, a quiet sense of shame. Over 1,000 years ago, a young painter in Kyoto discovered something about this very paralysis, and what he learned still cuts straight to the heart of why we freeze. His name was Haruki. He had studied calligraphy and ink painting for 3 years under a master in Kyoto. He had skill. Everyone said so. But every morning he would sit before a blank sheet of washi paper, brush in hand, and not make a single mark. He would tell himself the ink was too thick, the light was wrong, he was not ready. Days turned to weeks. One afternoon, his master, an old monk named Jozan, came to watch. He sat behind Haruki in silence for a long time. The paper stayed blank. Finally, Jozan spoke. He did not ask why Haruki had not painted. He asked one question. What are you protecting? Haruki had no answer. Jozan nodded slowly, as if that silence was the answer itself. What Jozan understood, and what we rarely admit to ourselves, is that procrastination is almost never about laziness. It is about fear. Specifically, the fear of making something imperfect. As long as Haruki had not painted, his painting was still perfect. It existed somewhere in his mind, flawless, untouched. The moment he made a mark, that protection was gone. There is a concept in Zen called mushin. It is sometimes translated as no mind, but that sounds stranger than it is. Mushin simply means releasing the grip of self-judgment, acting without the inner voice that grades every move before you have even made it. Dogen, the great Zen teacher, taught that we suffer not from our circumstances, but from our commentary on our circumstances. The brush does not judge the paper, only the painter judges. Jozan told Haruki to do something unusual. He told him to paint the worst painting he could. Not a good painting, the worst one. Something ugly, something wrong. Haruki laughed at first, but Jozan held his gaze. And so Haruki dipped his brush and made a wild, messy stroke across the paper. Then another. He felt something loosen in his chest, something he had been holding without knowing he was holding it. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." We have all heard this, but we miss what he was really pointing at. He was not talking about ambition. He was talking about the trap of the mind that stands at the beginning of 1,000 miles and refuses to step until the whole road is visible. The road appears by walking, not before. Miyamoto Musashi, who spent his life mastering the way of the sword, wrote that hesitation is the only true defeat. He was not speaking only of combat. He had watched men lose, not to their opponents, but to the moment before the moment, to the pause where the mind says, "Not yet." What he understood is that the body knows how to move. It is the thinking that stops it. So, here is what we can take from all of this. When you feel that familiar freeze, that pull toward reorganizing, refreshing, waiting, try one thing. Lower the stakes to almost nothing. Do not aim to do the work well. Aim only to begin it badly. Write one terrible sentence. Make one rough sketch. Send one imperfect message. The Zen tradition calls this just this, ichinen. This one action, this one breath. Not the whole painting, just the first mark on the paper. Haruki went on to fill many scrolls, not because he stopped caring about quality, but because he stopped using quality as a reason to hide. The blank page will always feel safer than the marked one. That feeling does not go away. But we can learn, as Haruki did, to make the mark anyway. We tell ourselves we will start tomorrow. Perhaps today we start badly.